It sounds like it's recording. I heard a ding
Right.
sound. Okay. All right. Welcome back, guys. This is Coach Joe Bala of the Joe Bala Fitness Podcast. I have my next guest here, an awesome, amazing individual. Her name is Miriam Fregoso. She is a mental health therapist who focuses on working with high school students. In that space, she helps them practice mindfulness, also implements fitness, meditation, visualization. That was a mouthful. And also manifestation. I first met Miriam and her husband Junior at a DEKA Strong event that I hosted through my DEKA Bay Area Program at CrossFit of Fremont. This was back in June 2022. Both Miriam and Junior, as well as their team called Garlic City Ruckers, returned in September 2022 to also take on our DEKA Mile event. Miriam's fitness journey started back in 2010 when she was battling mental health challenges like depression, panic, and anxiety attacks, as well as enduring both mental and physical abuse. Miriam credits her fitness, her life experiences, and God for who she is today. Miriam started Spartan Racing in 2016 and also has completed endurance-based events through Machete Madness and GORUCK. Miriam, welcome to my podcast.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
I appreciate you being here. So Miriam, before we dig any deeper into your story, where can people reach you? What's the best way for them to contact you?
I will say through Instagram, Garlic City Ruckers, or my personal Facebook, Miriam Fregoso. I think those are the best ways to get a hold of me.
Awesome.
Or come to Gilroy.
Gilroy is awesome. Yeah. And I want to visit that awesome gym you have there, like I mentioned before we hopped on the call here officially. So to take a step back, so you are a mental health therapist. So the reason that was interesting to me in my story, like I've shared it on my podcast, shared it on my Instagram, I battle depression, anxiety. I've also worked with therapists in the past. And so when I found that out from you, like it really, helped me feel like it justified that I'm not the only person in the world that, does have to battle this, but it doesn't mean that stops us, right? That's actually I look at it as a superpower or a strength, and we are who we are because of those experiences. And that's something that we talked about in your bio there. So going into your story a bit here. So how did you get started, with fitness? What kind of, ignited that fire, ignited that path forward for you?
So back in 2009, 2010, after living in a really abusive relationship, I found myself at a domestic violence shelter with my 4 children, and I finally was able to get housing. And I was just tired of being exhausted, mentally drained, and I was taking medication, and I felt like a zombie. The medication balanced my emotions, but I felt like a zombie. Like I couldn't cry, I couldn't be happy. So I started doing some research, and I came across this article, and I read it all. It was long, and it said that working out and eating healthier will release those endorphins in a natural way. So I was so desperate that I said, I'm going to give it a try. And so I joined the gym, and I was so committed that I went in 100%. I was 270 pounds, and it wasn't like I started making little changes to my diet. I went in 100%. I said, I want to see a change. I want to feel better. So I went 100% clean, eating, working out every day. And within the same week, I lost 16 pounds the first week.
Wow.
I don't know if it's a good thing or bad, but I feel that because of the drastic change, I was like, okay. And it wasn't more about the weight loss. It was more about I wanted to feel good, and I did. So I've been on this journey ever since, and I was medication free within the first 6 to 7 months. It's been quite a while, so I don't remember. But yes, I mean, it really literally changed my mind. my mind, my life, my health, and everything else. Yeah.
That's amazing. Your story is amazing because there's a lot of individuals out there that are battling, you know, situations like abuse, mental health challenges like depression, anxiety. But then also they you know they find through fitness find this outlet of movement can change your life for the better, right? And
Right.
um, you know, the fact that you had this major, you know, change in your life, you know, losing weight, right? Battling that, that's one, just even battling weight for one is all by itself challenging, but you had like multiple obstacles, you know, if you will, in front of you, right? So, you know, thinking back at that time, was there anything that you kind of said to yourself, or did you have a motto or something that kind of like, all right, I'm going to keep saying this to myself to continue pushing and driving myself forward? Do you kind of recollect anything like that?
I feel like back then when I was deciding that when I was trying to make the right choice, I want to change my life. I want to feel good. My children were my first thing in my head. Like I'm doing it for them because if I can't be healthy, I can be present for them. And they didn't have a father figure. So they were my inspiration, my motivation. Before that, when I was living in that abusive relationship, I tried taking my life twice. And because I just didn't feel that the world needed me, right? I felt like so empty. But little by little, they gave me the strength. So I said, okay, I didn't do any of the things that I plan to do because of my children. Let me find the courage to do something for them. And that's how I started, like, okay, getting healthy. You know, I want to run with them. I want to do this with them. So they were my main motivation.
That's beautiful. Do they still train with you today? Like, are they, you know, have you instilled in them those values and they continue to do that with you?
Some of so my oldest son, they all have different personalities. So he does some workouts and runs and walks. My second oldest doesn't like fitness at all. My third child, he's in the army, so he has to. He's active. And my youngest one, he plays football, he plays sports, and he works out here and then. And my stepdaughters, Junior's daughters, they're really into fitness. They hate it, anything workout related. Now they look amazing. I always tell them like they have massive gains, they have big legs, and they're young. So, you know, some of them pick up the habit, some of them not consistently, but here and then. But they
Yeah.
do. They active.
It's powerful how much influence we have as parents, right? Like I only have one, and there's times where if she sees my wife and I training together, like she'll be inspired. She'll jump in the on the rower that we have in the garage, and you know it's a powerful message that we want to relay to our kids and our kids because you have a so grandson or granddaughter?
And
Grandson. Okay, so is he like lifting major weights or he's really small?
he's two, but he does come and plays with the equipment. And we put him on the skier the other day, and we were telling him like down and up, and he will do it. So I do want
Oh,
him that part of us. And but my children also, like when we go and do events, they're always cheering on us. So they're always watching, right? And whether it's fitness or resiliency, I feel like my children, the ones that didn't pick up the fitness part of my journey, they have picked up the strength, the resiliency of facing obstacles head on, you know, because they're all men, and it was just them and myself. So they pick up that side, the resiliency, the working hard, you know, for their family, long hours if it was needed. So it kind of like balance of the habits that they picked up.
that's beautiful. Yeah. So when I'm coaching clients, I always have to remind them that it's more than just, you know, movement. It's more than just what you're fueling your body with. There's the other parts of it, the holistic approach, mindset, um,
Right.
habits, like you say, right? Being consistent, you know, and then just, literally hard work, like grit, resilience, building that up. So when you're, you say here in my notes that you have passion and purpose as a mover, as a therapist, right? And what is that passion and purpose? Could you kind of share that with the audience?
Sure. I feel like the reason why I'm in this field is because back then when I was in a dark place and I didn't find the will to live, and I started seeking help, right? When I received services from a therapist. So seeing the way they listened to me, that they were so attentive, they didn't give me their, not so much their input, but they listened to me. They hear what I was saying, and they made an impact in my life, and they helped my children. And ever since, my perspective changed about how I was the only one responsible for my healing. Like I couldn't hold my abuser responsible for all my challenges and for my mental health. I learned that I was the only person responsible for healing, that nobody else was coming to rescue me, that it was just me. So learning that from them changed my whole perspective. And that's why I said, well, the same way I changed my life with the assistance and help and kindness of this woman, I want to do the same for other people. So, but then I have a lot of obstacles, like the language barrier. Back then, I was undocumented. I couldn't go to school. So I have to overcome all those challenges, right? Like my life has been faced with so many challenges, but I felt like ever since I was a little girl, I always been so determined on accomplishing what I want. Like I always visualize and manifest myself doing all these things, and I put in the work, because manifestation and visualization doesn't work if you don't work hard. So it took me a while, 9 years in school, but then I became a therapist. So I cry when I was licensed, because I'm like, finally, I can help other people. And the best part of all is the connection that I create with individuals. Like I build rapport so quickly that sometimes when I'm praying, I say, God, like, what is it with me? Why do I build this relationship so quickly? And it makes me so happy that I can connect and make a difference in people's lives. So the reason why I'm in this field is because someone took the time to listen to me and give me great advice, and my life changed. And I said, now it's time to give back.
That's beautiful. Is this person that listened to you, that therapist or professional that you work with, are they still in your life today?
No, no. I tried reaching out to them, but the person was from out of town that will just drive and do like a clinic. It was like a 6-month program for like families. Some of them are present, like the people who I met at the domestic violence shelter. I do talk to 2 of them, and it's funny fact, not funny, but like coincidental fact. After I left the domestic violence shelter, the first job I got was to help the woman that live at that shelter. And some of my clients were my roommates at the shelter. So it's like a full circle. So
Oh
I
my
still.
gosh. Yeah. That's so beautiful. Yeah, the space that you're in, it's so impactful, so life-changing, and I'm always appreciative, to those that have helped me. And it's like you say, you pay forward what you learn, and those lessons, they're life-changing, they're impactful, and they can bring light to someone's darkness, right? And it's a powerful thing. So thank you for being one of those brave individuals to serve in that space. So I wanted to talk about your fitness journey a bit. In terms of you know movement, you have a team called Garlic City Ruckers. Could you kind of share with the audience what this group is about? And I know, from Instagram and what I've seen on Facebook, like you have an amazing group there, both you and Junior. So what is Garlic City Rockers, and what is your purpose? What is your why in terms of helping others move? And get healthier and such?
Yeah, so Garlic City Ruckers, it was founded in 2021 amid the pandemic. We came together as a community because gyms were closed, and even before that, we started the application process because it's GORUCK. It's a company. They create all these events, and they have former military individuals who lead these events. Our group that we have here in Gilroy, we get together Mondays and Wednesdays to do rucking. We walk a few miles with rucks, backpacks with weight. And on Wednesdays, we do some PTs. Thursdays, we do boot camp. And we pretty much invite everyone who wants to come. They're free of charge. If they want to donate to maintain equipment or to buy new stuff, they're welcome to. But I believe that people should have an opportunity to learn more about fitness, become healthy. And I also help them. I'm no expert in nutrition, but obviously I lost over 150 pounds. So I done a lot of research about how the body functions and what kind of foods are good for you. So I also offer assistance if they want to learn a little bit about nutrition. I share that with them. So yeah, so our group is really consistent. We're really blessed and happy. We created amazing relationships, friends that have become family, and we get together for events. We also do Spartan races. We do Machete Madness. We do Rocking, GORUCK. We do trail races. We do a little bit of everything. So yeah, and we'll welcome everyone.
That's amazing. And you do DEKA, right?
And
I've
we do
seen you at
DEKA.
the DEKAs.
I love DEKA.
So when you're, helping these individuals, and that's amazing that you are offering, this experience, to the community, right? Your local community, and you're not charging them for that, but you're paying forward everything you have learned, you and Junior have learned, and then that's gonna pay. The beauty of what we do in the fitness space is, being impactful, changing their habits, making them better individuals, humans, healthier. So if you're gonna, describe your approach, your philosophy on, movement and just fitness in general, how would you describe it to those that are interested in working with you?
Um, can you elaborate a little bit more, like what you're
Hmm.
looking for an answer?
Yeah. So like, what's your approach and what's your philosophy, to, helping others with movement, helping, in a sense, coaching them, right?
So like when they come, like I said, we welcome everyone. We are a little intense, and some people get intimidated, and they say they want to come, but they watch our videos and they don't want to come. And I'm like, no, just come, do what you can, because you don't
Hmm.
know what you're doing until you actually go out there and get it done. You'll be surprised. So I like to tell people, we don't, we think we know what we can do, but we don't. So you just need to get up, put your shoes on, join us, give it your all. All you can do is your best, right? That's pretty much all you can do. Um, so yeah, that's what we tell people. Just come, give it a try, and come back. Because sometimes people come and do it one time, and they think we're really intense. And me and Junior have talked about that. Maybe we have to change our approach, and so that we can welcome more people. But does that answer the question?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I love that, because there's no one right way to do fitness, movement, whatever modality it is, right? It's all
Right.
about, there's a lot of mindset involved. There's a lot of grit, determination, hard work, like we talked about, but the main thing when I'm coaching clients and students is also just the consistency part, right? Just being committed and
Right.
remembering your why. Why are you there? There's a reason
Right.
why they contacted you in the first place. So if they remember that one thing, that's gonna hopefully help them
Right.
come back, and more and more. Maybe that's something that you can apply, both you and Junior.
Right.
going forward. Remember their why. So you said you launched Garlic City Ruckers during the pandemic.
Right.
And then you guys do rucking. I'm not familiar with rucking. I've seen it. I've had some friends that also do rucking. So you said it's a weighted backpack, right? In a sense, right? What kind of weights and loads are you rucking with?
Myself, personally.
Yeah, yeah. Like for you, and then what would someone like Junior be carrying? And so that way, the audience that's watching and listening here can kind of get an idea of that.
Sure. So for the actual events, the requirement is like if you're 150 pounds or less, you can carry 20. If you're more than that, 30 pounds. For our group here, junior carries sometimes 45, 30. Sometimes I carry 20, 30 for the most part. Right now I'm at 20 because my ruck was stolen with my 30-pound plate. So I don't have 30 pounds. But we try to train with a heavier weight than it's required for the event. So that way, when you go into an event, you're ready. It doesn't feel that heavy. And we also carry sandbags. We have anything from 40, 60, 100. I just ordered a 200 for team weight. So it will be shared with 2 to 3 people. So yeah, so majority of the guys in our club ruck with 30 pounds. And Abel and Junior, because they're a little bit more extra, they do 45.
Quote unquote extra. I love how you you put that in quotations.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so that gives us those that are interested in rucking an idea. So I appreciate you sharing that. Um, you also talk about in your story how not just movement, not just what you've experienced with abuse, but also your mental health, right? Um, there was something in there that you shared that I would like to kind of dig into a little bit. Um, you talk about God. He has bigger plans for you. How does that fit into your day to day, and how you implement your approach for the day, and how do you implement that with getting yourself situated in the morning, and then kind of reminding yourself what's important, right?
I feel like without God, I'm nothing. Everything I do, everything that good that comes my way is because He has given it to me. And if something bad happens, I just ask for strength, and He gives me the strength to get over any obstacles, challenges, hardships. Um, I grew up Jehovah Witness. My grandma was my best role model. She passed away, but everything I knew back then when I was a child, and everything I know now, is because of her great example. I only aspired to be half of the woman that she was. She was loyal, kind, humble. She helped everyone, and she was a great, great woman. And I pray every day for family, friends, for everything, for dogs that are homeless in other countries. I love animals, and it might sound silly, but I pray for them too. So God has it's every day He's present in my life, and without Him, I am nothing, very much.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I think I shared this on a previous podcast. I grew up Catholic, and yeah, God's been a big part of my journey as well, and have continued to remind myself, like, without Him, there's nothing else, right? And there's no purpose, there's no light to follow, there's no path to follow, right? And it's true for most belief systems out there, and it's a way for us to fall back on, when we are feeling at our lowest, right? We always can rely on Him to help us, right? That's beautiful. Um what's in terms of your practice, so outside of fitness, outside of what when you're reminding yourself of the power of what God has given you. What are other modalities that you practice? I know in your summary, you mentioned helping those high school students. That's your main focus, right? Focus group.
Right.
What are those modalities that you teach them and practice yourself?
With students, they're all different, right? But it all falls together within the same modality. Um, they all have different needs, but my approach has always been pretty much the same. I talk to them. I'm not the conventional therapist that sits down and goes over different feelings and emotions on what intervention I'm going to use that day. I just let them be that at that time and depending on their needs. But my approach is always mindfulness. I like them to be aware that regardless of their age, if 12 and above, you have the sense of knowing what's good and what's bad. And also you make your choices, right? And I always tell them, I'm here just to give you some tools, talk to you, listen to you attentively. But in reality, the change comes from within, regardless how old you are. You're 14, 15. Majority of them are 14, 15, 16. I said, you are responsible for your own healing. You know, if they went through abuse, if they went through abandonment from parents, it's really unfair that that happens to them at that age, but it is what it is, right, at that moment. And I said, the only person who can get you out of the hole is you. Now, how we do it, we can implement different things. I use a lot of negative thinking, reframing, or thought change. I help them change their thought process because I tell them the importance of being an optimistic and not, a pessimist. So that's what I use with them a lot. Mindfulness, changing their thought process, positive affirmations, journaling, and gratitude is something that I use pretty much with them every day. So first thing they do, they get a piece of paper. What are you grateful for today? And they say sometimes, well, I don't know, nothing goes. But what are you grateful? Do you have a cat? Are you grateful for your cat? Do you have food this morning? Are you grateful for that food? Whatever you're grateful for, it doesn't have to be, oh, I have an Xbox, I have this, I have money. No, it has to be something that comes within. So we start with that. And positive affirmations, that's something that I use a lot. And I recently got approved to implement fitness. So we're going to start doing like a 30-minute Tabatas or HIIT training with my students. They ask for it. And yoga, a lot of meditation. I love meditation. With them, I can only do 5 minutes max because they can't stand still for longer than that. But they ask for those things. They ask me to help them meditate, stay still and quiet their mind for a little bit. Journaling, games, and fitness is something that I find really useful for them.
That's absolutely beautiful. I wish I had, growing up in my junior high school days, I think I may have shared this on one of the podcasts. I had some challenges myself, and I feel like a lot of it was traumatizing, and still affects me today. That's why I have to practice, journaling. I have to sit and meditate. And even if it's for, I'm a busy guy and I try to fit it in when I can. Sometimes it's only like a few minutes, but like it's very powerful to practice
Right.
these modalities, right? And thinking back to those junior high school days, I wish we had individuals like you that were available in high school and junior high, even, because those are like formative years, right? And I'm sure you can appreciate that too, as when you see these and you work with these kids, it's like I can make a change, I can help them, and
Right.
that's beautiful that you incorporate all of that, and then now you're tying in fitness, because everything working together holistically is what's going to get them to where they need to be, get them where they need to be. um is Are these kids, do they find you through the high school, or is it more like you run the program there and then they're sent to you when they need help?
Some of them are referred to me because of behavioral problems. Some of them just walked in distress, asking to speak with someone, and I meet with them, and I tell them I have a program, and they just say, yes, I want to be part of your program. Some of them are in crisis when they come to me. So it's a little bit of everything.
Oh, okay, got it. All right. So those that are listening, watching, and this is only in the Gilroy area, right? School district. It's not open to outside.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's, you know what? To be honest with you, I was nervous because this is who I am as a therapist and as a human being. I love all
Mm.
this mindfulness and what it does for people, right? So I was nervous to implement that because I know that the therapists that worked there before, they have different interventions, right? Different modalities. And I was nervous to get shut down on the way that I I I approach the principal about my services. Like, this is how I practice. Like, are you okay with that? And right away, when they seen the feedback of the students, they were okay with it. And so I was nervous, but I'm happy that I was approved to implement these modalities.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I would hope that, I could see, your program like branching out into, other, school districts or even, areas. Like certain neighborhoods have, rougher times than other neighborhoods, right? So those kids, they need that help, and online services are something that is very popular today. So maybe that's something you can,
Right.
potentially dig into, right? So I wanted to talk about, going back to your movement, your fitness journey. You said you started Spartan Racing back in 2016.
Right.
Could you share what that was like at that time? Like, what was your very first race, and what type of race was it? What did you experience? And I'm assuming you did it with junior, or was that you
No.
both?
So my first race, my friend Laura, she was like, let's do this Spartan race at El Diablo Grande 2016 when the weather was like 97 degrees. I'm like, oh, sure, let's go. We almost died, and it took us like 6 hours. We were undertrained and not prepared. We learned our lesson. Let's just say it that way. It was me, my friend Laura, and Monica. And we got hooked. We're like, we die. And I said, we need to train because we don't want to die anymore. So my friend Monica introduced me to Jana. You probably know Jana. She's the CrossFit trainer. She podiums all the time. She's a beast. And then we start
Yep.
training with. Then Junior joined us for the Beast. His first race was Lake Tahoe Beast for Junior, 2016. So no, I didn't start with Junior. He actually started after me. But that was my first race, and I was still like 185 pounds. But I loved it, and I loved the grind. Like, you have to dig deep, when you're out of your comfort zone and you're jumping those walls, and you fall down and you can't do it, and you get up and do it again and again and again. um yeah, so I love the failing part. I love failing all the time because that's how you grow. When you come back and say, okay, I failed that one time, but let me do it again, or let me train for that so I can be better next time. So that's how we started 2016.
Awesome. Was that a super, or was that a at the
The,
time? Okay, super. Okay. Yeah, I also, my very first race was a Spartan Super at that same venue, but it was a year later, 2017, and I remember turning my ankle during the race, like midway
oh,
through. But I dug deep. I was like, okay, this is not going to stop me. So I just kept going, even though I didn't know much about Spartan at the time, and it drove me to the point where I wanted to become a Spartan SGX coach, which is interesting because I always remember that moment, right? Was there a moment during your first race where you, like, hit a physical obstacle where you're like, okay, I don't know if I can do this, but I'm gonna just do it anyway? Or was there any moment that you, like, said, okay, this is gonna be a struggle?
interesting fact. Up until this point, after all these years of racing, the extra weight loss, and all the accomplishments that I have, every time I go to a Spartan race and I see the first wall to the starting line, I freak out. And that was always been the case. After I jumped on, it's like, okay, I got this. Like, let's go. But it's a barrier in my own mind because I know that, right? But I don't know why I still get that. Like every time I see that wall. So throughout the pandemic when there was no wall, I was like, "Tee, tee, tee, tee," so happy. No wall. But up until this point, it doesn't make me nervous. It's more like I get anxious. My heart rate start increasing when I see that wall, and I jump it really quick, like nothing. But it's there. But after that, I have a lot of injuries, like back problems, and so I haven't done any of the hanging obstacles because of the fear of getting hurt. I couldn't walk for a year, 2018. So I'm really careful of the things that I do now. So right now, the hanging obstacles make me nervous. Back then, the one that always feared the most was the bender because I felt like I was going back. But I always, like I said, it's about failing and giving it a try and do it again and again and again until you
Yes.
succeed.
No, I love that. It's for me as a coach, I'm always reminding my students, my clients, like, don't be afraid to tackle that, obstacle, because it's either you're gonna fail it or pass it, or conquer it. And if you fail, it's a lesson learned, like you mentioned earlier, right? Like you can learn and grow and change and become that better you, and that's a process, right? And it doesn't happen overnight. Sometimes it takes, some time. It could be a year, it could be months, and multiple years, right? So that's
Right.
something that lesson learned is, don't give up, right? And keep pushing through and get better. Um, you also said you in your summary here you ran 2 ultras. What was that like for you?
That was horrible. I did my first ultra, Spartan Ultra in Los Olivos. And I mean, there was not even a lot of elevation, but it was horrible. I mean, I have a lot of injuries, so I'm always in pain. Every time I do anything over 13 miles, I'm in pain. And I hate running. I run because I do the things I hate because in order for me to get better, I had to do those things, right? But I don't like running. And so doing 2 laps of that was horrible. I finished it, and Junior doesn't want to race an ultra with me ever again. He said no more. But first one was really bad. Second one though was better. I did it by myself, and I found my friends along the way, so we stuck together. So it wasn't that bad. But the first one was like really, really bad, and
Mm.
I went back again, right? And I did it again.
Where was the second one? You said first one was Los Olivos, second one was where?
What was the second one? Was there San Luis Obispo one? No.
I have yet to conquer an ultra because
Oh,
I have injuries myself that I'm trying to manage. So
I don't even remember.
okay, no
I
worries.
I have to get back to you on that one
Okay,
because
yeah,
I yeah I don't remember.
all right. It must have been a blur then for you.
You know, no, I have really bad memories sometimes with things. I don't know. I can't remember. I think it was Los Olivos. No, Los Olivos was I don't know. I had to get back to you on that one. But I done two.
All right, I believe you. Um, so I wanted to dig into this. You have some goals, coming forward. Running in Mexico, and then you mentioned here a bucket list. What's that bucket list run that you described?
So I've been wanting to. I've been researching. And there's a marathon, or there's several distances, and the Great Wall of China, and that's one of my ultimate goals. I really want to do that one. Um, Next year, I will be doing more trail races and more racing, and we would do want to make like a vacation and then do a race. Like in Mexico, we went to Tijuana this year, and it was an amazing experience. Not because I'm Mexican, but my people are so warm, and I loved that with their limited income, and I mean, they're majority of people have less than what we have. So, and for them, for the whole 13 miles, you'll see families out there, the entire family, with pants cheering for you, signs. They even give you tequila. I mean, who does that, right? Only. So we want to do more races, not for the tequila, but just to go to Mexico and different places here in the United States. And yeah, I want to do more running again, because I don't enjoy running that much. I'm finding ways to like it more and more, because I've been running pretty often in preparation for my marathon. So I want to do more of that next year.
That's awesome. Are you on a specific running program?
I did a lot of research and I created one for myself. I started super. Although I have run half marathons a few times this year, I'm starting slow. So I'm on my own program, and I'm doing a lot of strength and runs in between, like the short runs during the week, and I do my long runs and during the weekends, but not specifically following a program. I'm following Miriam's program. um, I believe that sometimes those programs don't know who you are or what you're capable of doing or your injuries. So only I know my body and what works and what might not work. So I hope that that's enough for my marathon. Let's hope it is. We shall see in
Yeah.
March.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing you're going to learn from this experience, right? What challenges you face during the run, and then how you can get better, like we've been talking about, right? That's the beauty of movement and all the different styles of movement that are out there: running, strength training, whatever it is. I love that you're incorporating strength training, because that's like a very good basis to build off of, right? Um, Miriam, is there anything on that Great Wall of China that you're like trying to achieve? Is there like a time for that one, or is it like
um,
um,
I I haven't thought about that, but I do, depending on what my time is for this marathon. I always try to beat my time, right? I want to be better than what I did before. If my half marathon took me on a trail with some elevation, took me, let's say, 2.5 or 2 hours and 50 minutes, right? Next year, if I do the same race, I want to do it in 2:30. So my goal is do this marathon next March, see how it goes, and then research more about the Great Wall of China and see what it looks like, and like build from there. Yeah, but I
yeah,
hope better than I did before.
that's awesome. I didn't know that there was a marathon out there. So now you have my interest peaked. So I'm gonna look at that myself. That's a very, very good bucket list goal. And it's a probably a beautiful place to visit, altogether. Um, so I wanted to be respectful of your time. So we're gonna wrap up this podcast episode, but before we do that, you you've competed at the DEKA events, and then what's your take overall on DEKA? Are you planning on doing more DEKAs this year, or kind of mixing it in with what you're doing with the rucking and Spartan? Like, what's the plan for you and Junior?
Yeah, I think me and Junior, we consider ourselves hybrid athletes because we do a little bit of everything. I'm not a runner, I run. I'm not just a rucker, but I do ruck. I'm not a CrossFitter, but I do CrossFit. So I'm a little bit of everything. DEKA, I love DEKA. And when we had boot camps here, we always do like a mock, and we do the whole movement, all the movements. So yeah, DEKA, like I'm getting ready for, I think we're doing one in Fresno. We're doing whatever you guys have for next year. And we keep on working. And my goal is, again, to beat my time from last time. Every time I have done a DEKA, I've been beating my time. So the goal for next year for the strong, I want to do it in 17 minutes, 17 something. I did it last time, 18. So every time I want to shave minutes and minutes, even seconds. I'll take 10 seconds less. And I'm preparing myself. I hate the bike, and that's what takes most of my energy. So I've been practicing Tabatas with bike and skier for 15 rounds 3 times per week. So I'm prepping for that. So yeah, well, DEKA's for sure next year. A lot.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm happy to hear that. You guys are going to be out there crushing those DEKA events, and I'm looking forward to having you and your team back at CrossFit of Fremont with the DEKA events that we do there. So trifecta is probably in the books for you for DEKA. I'm sure you're gonna do DEKA Fit as well.
Yeah, I only done one DEKA Fit, and I did it with Junior together as a team. But I want to do all 3 of them by myself.
There's some running in that one, right? So
I know. That's why I'll be ready, because I've been doing a lot more running.
okay, good. No, I'm excited to see. I'll be there with my team as well. So that day I did it twice. I did the competitive by myself, and then I was brave enough to jump in as a team, and it was brutal, but it was amazing. That the amount of, I think I remember seeing you in Junior, like you were in the same starting wave as we all went through. So it was fun to kind of
Yeah.
see all of you guys out there. All right, so I want to wrap up here. Usually how I do the wrap up, I do something called quick fire questions. So quick fire just means I'm gonna ask you a question, and then you just got to answer it with a short answer, and or like a short sentence. So don't feel pressured. There's no right or wrong. Just kind of gives my audience and some insight on who Miriam is. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I'm a Spartan coach and trainer, and I'm big on modality, holistic approach to fitness, right? So what's your favorite form of fuel when you do these events? Whether it's a ruck or a Spartan or a DEKA or in this case you're doing marathons. Is there a favorite source of fuel or food that you kind of go to?
For the most part, we rely on Carbo Pro. I can't have a lot of things heavy in my stomach. So Carbo Pro.
Carbo Pro. That's like a supplement, right?
The carbs
Okay.
and powder.
Got you. Okay. That's awesome. What about, so that's in terms of like a quote unquote meal. Is there like a favorite go-to beverage that you both or that you drink, like that you kind of use as fuel or work with to stay
Mm.
hydrated and such?
Oh, the oral IV, the powder little packets. Yeah.
Okay. So you mix that in with the Carbo Pro?
Yeah. So I usually have 2 bottles: water with a little bit of IV, and then my Carbo Pro with amino acids.
Got you. Okay. I'm sure someone's gonna listen to that and they go, okay, now I know how they're so awesome at this. I don't know if you're familiar with superheroes or you follow comics or movies. Do you have a real life superhero that you think about and helps propel you to do these awesome things that you do?
I think my mom is my superhero. Everything, like I said, I aspire to be half of who she is, same as my grandma.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Mine is my dad, so that's
Yeah.
why I have him on my arm here with my tattoo,
Yeah.
or tattoos. That's awesome. Which, if you think now related to those superheroes, which of them, like if you think of all those characters that we, seen in comic books, movies, and such, is there one superhero that you identify with the most?
Oh my God, never thought about that. I'm not a big superhero like person. I I can't answer that one. I don't think I have an answer for you right now.
All right, we'll just say your mom. Your mom is your superhero, and that's who you identify your most, right? And your grandmother. Um, What about mentor? Like, who is your mentor today? Who do you, or even thinking back, to when you were struggling and doing the, having to overcome these obstacles? Is there a mentor that helped, you be who you are today?
I feel like who I am right now, my mentor will be my old boss from my work of 22 years. I think because of him is that I went to school. His character, I learned a lot from him. Professionally and as a human being, as a professional, I learned a lot from him.
That's awesome. So you carry that with you and pay forward what you learned?
Right.
Beautiful. So I wanted to wrap up with saying thank you so much for joining me on here. I look forward to having some conversations with you in the future, when you want to share, if you're open to sharing, what your marathon, experience is like, especially that one going to Great Wall of China and even throughout Mexico. And we mentioned earlier ways for people to reach out to you. They can find you on social media. And could you repeat that again, where they can connect with you?
Sure. Instagram, Garlic City Ruckers, and Facebook, Jael Jael Fre. Is it Jael Fregoso or Jael Freg? I'm so bad. I'm so sorry. If you find Junior, you'll find me. It says Miriam, because my name is not Miriam on Facebook, but if you type Jael, you'll find me.
All right, awesome. I'll make sure to include those in the show notes so people can click on it. Miriam, thank you so much again for joining me on my podcast. I appreciate you. I appreciate what you've shared, and I know that there's going to be individuals out there that are going to be inspired and motivated by what you've shared. So thank you again for joining me. Any closing statements you want to share with the audience? Like one thing that you want to close with?
Well, thank you for having me. And I will just say, just trust in yourself. Go out there and do things that you don't think you can do, because you won't know if you can do them until you actually go out there and get them done. So give it a try.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much, Miriam. All right, I'm gonna wrap up with that. Thank you guys for joining. So let me stop this recording, and then so what I'm gonna do.